Well, one Minnesota man is hitting the road to advocate for mental health by walking nearly 1,800 miles. His name is Jason Lennox, and he's walking 1,776 miles around the perimeter of Minnesota for a campaign called the Recovery Road. Now, the goal is to collect stories and data and take those findings to lawmakers. His journey began a week ago in Stillwater, and today he arrived in Duluth, meeting with local providers to talk about the importance of youth mental health.
Then all the data collection, that will all wrap together in one big story, and we're doing 87 county data collection to really put together a package and bring it to our legislators, the people who can make change, and say, you know, we've actually gone to every part of Minnesota, every corner with these feet.
He plans to finish the walk on October 8th, wrapping things up back in Stillwater.